performance car that can fry your synapses on a canyon run or a high-speed blast down an empty highway is a thrill. But what about one that can do that and elevate everyday driving into something special? One with a chassis that combines responsive handling with a livable ride and a spirited powertrain with commute-friendly fuel economy. Add a four-adult cabin and the versatility to carry a good bit of cargo, and a do-it-all machine like that could serve as an enthusiast's only car. Hot hatches have long fried a synapse, but rarely do they hold all those values, particularly now, with the market moving to ever more luxurious sports cars, SUVs, and EVs. With the Integra Type S, Acura resurrects a past nameplate and reminds us what makes the whole idea of a hot hatch that was more for adults than boy racers so great. In typical Honda fashion, the Integra Type S eschews gaudy overkill, instead wringing maximum performance from a finely honed set of components. That starts with a turbocharged 2.0-liter 4, spinning out a lively 320 horsepower, which makes for a rewarding trip to the 7,000 RPM red line. At the same time, a hearty 310 pound-feet of torque is available at 2,600 revolutions per minute, creating satisfying in-traffic urge without zinging the engine. Working against a svelte 3,212 pounds, that's enough for a 5.1-second 60mph time and a 13.7-second quarter mile at 105 miles per hour. This Acura deftly avoids the downside of a highly boosted Turbo 4 engine and the challenge of sending so much grunt to the front wheels. Honda's clever dual-axis front struts effectively mitigate torque steer and aid the steering by helping to deliver more feedback and natural self-centering. Critically, the automaker pairs this engine with a 6-speed manual transmission. Honda is one of the few automakers that still recognize how important a row-your-own gearbox is in a car like this. So much so that it's the only transmission available. A stick shift brings unmatched involvement to an enthusiast's car, and this manual is one of the best. Like so many Honda gearboxes before it, it boasts finger-flick shift action, well-spaced ratios, and a perfect clutch take-up. The driver's environment doesn't shout sportiness with hard-shell torture chairs or look-at-me modernity with wall-to-wall screens. Instead, the interactions are straightforward, and the materials feel like quality, just the kind of thing that wears well over the long haul. Similarly, the Type S exterior has just enough racy elements to signal, at least to those in the know, that this is the most special Integra. It's true that the Integra Type S shares much with the Honda Civic Type R, which is available for less coin. The Civic Type R is a fine machine. It's found elsewhere on this list, but the Integra Type S is its own animal. More comfortable and less frenetic, the Type S is a superior daily driver, and yet it gives up nothing to its more track-focused sibling, circling our skid pad with the same 1.02 Gs of grip and stopping from 70 miles per hour in a similar 153 feet. Basically, the Integra Type S can chillax during the sclerotic slog and then put on its game face when the road opens up. Combine that breadth of talent with the practicality of a four-door hatchback bod that's adept at ferrying passengers and bulky cargo, and the Integra Type S hits the sweet spot. It also serves as a reminder why we love these jacks of all trades. What do the 1990s Chicago Bulls and the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing have in common? You never get tired of watching them win. The CT4V Blackwing has just three-peated 10 best, and for good reason. This sports sedan is one of the best driver's cars on the market today, right up there with its sibling, the CT5V Blackwing, also a 3-time 10 best winner. It looks good, it sounds good, and it's something we'd have no trouble living with. We did for 40,000 miles. It starts with the 472 HP twin-turbocharged 3.6-liter V6, which in its loudest setting emits all manner of pops and burbles, meaning we have no choice but to run the bent 6 to redline over and over. While it's immensely capable with its optional 10-speed automatic transmission, we say skip the 3175 upcharge and stick with the, stick. Its precise engagement only adds to the sensory assault at full send. And sending the Blackwing gives you some of the most rewarding driving this side of the 6-figure mark. As a bonus, manual-equipped CT4V Blackwings get titanium connecting rods. In mild-mannered cruising, the CT4V still shines. Cadillac's ride and handling department deserves a raise, and those who brought these magnetorheological dampers to market should win a Nobel Prize. Happily compliant in daily use, this caddy is comfortable and quiet, and it never taxes you for its performance. And yet, tail-swinging, exhaust-barking antics are just a stomp away. At $62,990, the CT4V Blackwing feels like a bargain for having this much capability. However, what feels a little too bargainy is the cabin, which could stand to better reflect the Blackwing's price and not the base CT4's price. GM may need a stint in rehab to get over its addiction to middling plastics. The rear seat is a little tight too, but optimists can wave that one away by pointing out that you'll want your passengers to be snug once the road gets twisty. Did you ever think Cadillac would end up making some of the best, if not the best, sports sedans on terra firma? Did you ever think Dennis Rodman would go down as one of the best defenders in NBA history? The answer to both is probably no, but we're quite happy with how reality turned out. Like its CT4V sibling, the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing has returned to collect its third 10 Best award. Since that is no small feat for any car, the CT5V Blackwing is clearly worth every bit of praise dedicated to it. When was the last time you drove a sedan capable of breaking the rear tires loose at highway speeds on dry pavement? With a 668 HP supercharged 6.2-liter V8 whining under the hood and imitating a Spanish galleon's cannon fire through the tailpipes, the CT5V Blackwing is like bringing a thermonuclear device to a knife fight. At $96,190, it costs as much as 1.5 CT4V Blackwings. The EPA estimates fuel economy at 13 mpg city and 21 mpg highway, numbers that will undoubtedly cascade once you realize how much fun the last half of the gas pedal's travel can be. The Blackwing offers traction and stability with such sprezzatura that you might wonder whether Cadillac hid a tiny wizard on board. The manual transmission, something no other sedan of this size offers, rewards the driver with crisp action. The pedals, the wheel, the former Corvette V8, everything gels and keeps us coming back for more. That said, we wish Cadillac would give the Blackwing the interior it deserves. Last year, we referred to it as Chevy Malibu Plus. That descriptor works again this year as we stare down a design that doesn't look luxurious or sporty. Because it's a peach there, too. Standard magnetorheological dampers bring soothing ride comfort in their most pliant setting, and there's enough room in the back for the family to settle in. Short of traversing an open ocean, there isn't much the CT5V Blackwing can't do. Andrew Kroc. The screaming Z06 gets kneecapped by a price increase, but the C8 generation Chevrolet Corvette is still a winner and now boasts an enticing new addition, the electrically enhanced all-wheel drive E-Ray. It should come as no surprise that Chevrolet's Corvette has earned another 10 Best trophy. After all, it's now made the list 25 times. Trailing only the Honda Accord as the all-time leading recipient of our most prestigious award. Like so many things in today's world, the Corvette's price continues to rise. This mid-engine beast is now in its 5th production year, and the cost of entry has crept up $10,000 since the car's introduction, albeit to a still relatively attainable $69,995. A remarkable value for a car that masterfully blends multiple personalities. Flog it at the track on Saturday, then cruise it to church in it on Sunday. Why only drive it when the weather's warm? Mount some winter tires and drive it year-round. It won't car. Sadly, this year's price, spec it pushed the high-revving Corvette 06 above our $110,000 price cap by $4,395. We suspect a few grand won't deter potential buyers from that 670 HP 5.5-liter V8 powered wild child, but rules are rules. Though the hottest version of America's supercar slid off the chart, Chevrolet has delivered a new hit. The hybrid-powered, all-wheel drive, $106,595 Corvette E-Ray. Put down the pitchfork and step away from the keyboard. The 655 HP E-Ray's electrified front axle and mid-mounted 6.2-liter V8 powertrain aren't really about green energy. The E-Ray can operate in electric-only mode for very short periods at very low speeds, and only if the driver has chosen to do so before starting the car. Once the battery depletes or speed exceeds 45 mph, there's no going back to EV mode. It's all glorious V8 with electric assist. The E-Ray also blasts to 60 mph in 2.5 seconds, making it the quickest Corvette we've tested. Feel better now? Then there's the entry-level Stingray, which still turns heads. Specify the Targa or convertible with the Z51 package's performance goodies, summer tires, 5 HP bump, brake and suspension upgrades, and more, and 60 mph is yours in under 3.0 seconds. Over 1.0 G of lateral grip is at the ready and stops from 70 mph, require less than 150 feet. For the money, there isn't another production car in the world that achieves these feats. Performance aside, any Corvette is also an extremely livable place. The interior might be a little tight for some, but it's the best Corvette cabin Chevy has ever done. Opt for the Magnetor Heological dampers, and the ride quality is simply brilliant, even on Michigan's pockmarked and frost-heaved roads. Time after time, the Corvette's capability and affordability bring us back for more. Yep, it won again. Honda has not fumbled the family sedan football. Instead, the Accord enters another season primed for the future. If there were a Mount Rushmore of cars, a likeness of the Accord would be George Washington. Honda's stalwart sedan has long been a towering example of smart engineering, a clear-eyed and consistent vision of what a great family sedan should be. This is the 38th time the Accord has earned a 10 Best spot since our award's 1983 inaugural year, the most of any model from any manufacturer. The reason for the Accord's winning streak is simple, but one that's hard for other companies to duplicate: continuous improvement of a single model over decades. While most OEMs make incremental improvements, Honda seemingly has a sixth sense for nailing the family car formula. Generational upgrades have resulted in the Accord becoming bigger, roomier, nimbler, more powerful, quicker, more fuel-efficient, more luxurious, better equipped, and more fun to drive. This layer cake of continuous development has made the current 11th generation model a delicious confection. In almost every way, this latest Accord is the best ever. Like Accord's past, it hides its greatness under a conservatively styled suit of clothes. There's no flash, just substance, and this iteration confirms Honda's belief that now is the time for hybridization. The top 4 of the Accord's trims come strictly with a 204 HP hybrid powertrain. If you're solidly anti-hybrid, the 2 lower trim levels come standard with a 192 HP turbo 1.5-liter inline-4 connected to a CVT. While we miss the previous generation's 252 HP turbo 4 and manual transmission, there's still more than enough of the Accord's traditional goodness to win over even the most discerning enthusiast. They'll find a compelling combo of long-haul comfort and twisty road fun. Its airy cabin has spread-out room inside for lanky passengers, and its upper trims offer handsome appointments. It delivers brilliantly on its family sedan mission and does it while maintaining the Accord's tradition of affordability. The base LX starts at $28,990, while the comprehensively equipped Touring goes for $39,635. In a world of fewer and fewer family sedans, Honda has not merely kept the Accord alive, but continued to hone its brilliance. That's why the Accord has yet again earned a place on the mountaintop we call 10 Best. With a lineup ranging from fuel-sipping economizer to track-ripping hot hatch, the Civic displays astounding versatility and excellence of execution. It's hard not to love the Honda Civic. The product range covers a lot of ground, and all of them are fantastic in the context of their individual missions. Whatever drove you to a Honda dealer in the first place, there's a Civic to match your lifestyle and financial plan. Looking for a high-mileage commuter that doesn't break the bank? The base LX or sport sedan with a 2.0-liter engine will do nicely. Want a bit more oomph and better appointments for not that much more coin? The EX and Touring models with the turbocharged 1.5-liter inline-4 are your jam. Prefer a four-door hatchback? Sure, they've got those. Want to shift it yourself? The Sport and Sport Touring hatchback models give you 3 pedals, and if you want a manual performance sedan on a budget, the 200 HP Civic C is right over here. You can even get it with summer tires. But that's not all. The stupendous Civic Type R hatchback comes from the same stable, fortified with a wide track suspension, adaptive dampers, sticky tires, track-ready brakes, a surgical 6-speed manual, and a 315 AP turbocharged 2.0-liter masterpiece. It was a giant slayer at Lightning Lap, where it became the first, and so far only front-drive machine to break the 3-minute barrier around Virginia International Raceway's demanding 4.1-mile grand course. No matter the size of the check you're riding, you'll find a well-built machine that delivers engaging steering, a well-damped ride, and bang-for-buck driving satisfaction. Many driver assistance systems are standard across the board, too. The Civic interiors are similarly attractive and logically laid out, with a straightforward 7.0-inch touchscreen infotainment system with a wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connection, giving way to a 9.0-inch display with wireless phone mirroring midway up the range. Any Civic's back seat is easily roomy enough for adults on a road trip. We're big fans of the Civic. It's a well-conceived, enjoyable, and economical car we can recommend to a subscriber just as easily as you could to a friend or family member without digging into what they can afford or how they drive. Wherever they are on those spectrums, they'll thank you later for suggesting a Honda Civic. Lucid promised a less expensive version of its Air EV, and now it delivers with the $78,975 Air Pure. We're living in a triple-tiered subscription-based world. Gold members get a free bottle of water at check-in. Platinum status lets you board the plane sooner than others. Diamond members, well, they can do just about anything as long as the cops aren't watching. The idea seems to be to make you want more. That's what makes the Lucid Air Pure such a fresh take. It's the most affordable version of an impressive EV. Yet even at this lowest tier, it delivers better EPA range than the most expensive or longest-range electrics from Tesla, Hyundai, Mercedes-Benz, or any other EV maker in the market. And the all-wheel drive Pure's slightly shorter range still exceeds the distance some gas-fed cars can go before refueling. For those reasons and many others, both Air Pure variants earn our 10 Best award. But before we dump an entire 5-gallon bucket of data and EV vocabulary on your head, let us first explain why the $78,975 Air Pure, $83,975 in all-wheel drive form, is worth savoring. The Pure only sacrifices what's easy to live without. It wears a body-colored metal roof instead of glass. The front lid isn't powered, the front seats aren't ventilated, and the windshield isn't heated. The ride, though, is lovely, and the rear-drive version handles with unerring grace. Through the garden of bumps, twists, and curves that is our 10 Best loop, the Air served a driving experience as smooth as cocoa butter. The 430 HP rear-drive Air Pure gets to 60 mph in 4.3 seconds, and the 480 HP all-wheel drive Pure cuts that to 3.5 seconds. The inherent goodness of the 8119 HP dual-motor Air Grand Touring, the one that costs about $40,000 more and launches to 60 mph in 3.0 seconds, and even the 1234 HP Air Sapphire at 250-500 certainly carries down. The Air Pure is an apple from an incredibly strong tree. The Air Pure's use of a smaller 92.0 kW battery pack versus the larger 112.0 kW and 118.0 kW packs offered in other trims, provides rear seat passengers with deeper footwells, allowing them to put their toes in a place that cells would otherwise occupy. The Lucid Air Pure is a base model whose driving range, performance, space, and price put it in a sweet spot, one that makes you feel like you're holding a golden ticket instead of a coupon. It may be the lowest tier, but it sets the bar high. If you've driven the dynamically superior Porsche Boxster or Cayman, you understand why this duo returns year after year. No handicapper would have offered underdog odds on the Porsche 718 Boxster and Cayman, making our 10 best list for the 19th time in a row. Only twice since its first year of eligibility in 1998 has a form of Porsche's mid-engine sports car failed to make the cut. Even the 10 best fixture Honda Accord has missed 4 times during its longer eligibility. And although the Chevrolet Corvette ties the Boxster with 25 all-time wins, it has failed to reach the list no fewer than 15 times. Judging by success rate, the Porsches are 10 best's brightest stars. This is a special kind of excellence, though even as we award another title, it is impossible to deny that the present generation 718 is showing its age. The current Boxster and Cayman launched as 2017 models, and their interior design is closer to that of the 9991 Generation 911 than the 992. The 7.0-inch touchscreen's fuzzy graphics feel unexceptional, though the analog gauges still look rich. That all barely matters because the Boxster and Cayman continue to exemplify the greatest sports car virtues. These are cars without slop, hesitation, or apparent filter between man and machine. They make mundane errands feel truly special. It's clear that engineers' obsessive attention honed even the smallest details of the driving experience. The steering delivers hi-fi feedback. Both the throttle and the brake have ideal weighting and proportionality. Regardless of model, the chassis possesses the poise and finesse of an elite athlete, with even minute changes realizing instant course corrections. There isn't a wrong choice in the range. The low rev lag of the base, turbocharged 2.0-liter flat 4 is canceled by muscular mid-range punch that makes for excellent drivability. Further up the tree, the GTS 4.0 continues to perform magic. It feels like a greatest hits compilation, especially when experienced with the 6-speed manual gearbox. Porsche knows how good the Boxster and Cayman are and prices them accordingly. Even the most basic Cayman starts at $69,950, the GTS pushes $100,000, and the Cayman GT4 RS and the Boxster Spider RS carry stickers that put them well outside 10 best contention. Yet, for what they offer, none feel overpriced. Porsche is facing an incredibly tough task in replacing these cars, which may explain why they've hung around so long. If you think small, lightweight, joyful sports cars are dead, you haven't looked in the right places. As the SUV-ification of the auto market continues unabated and mega-horsepower EVs quickly become the new hotness in the high-performance space, the Subaru BRZ and Toyota GR86 look more and more like outliers. Small, light, naturally aspirated, and manually shifted, this delightfully analog duo flies in the face of many current trends, and they're all the better for it. Not merely a tonic to prevailing winds, these sports cars are exciting in their own right. During our 10 best testing, the GR86 was often just as quick through the challenging sections as more powerful and more expensive contenders, some vastly so. With their lithe handling, faithful steering, predictable behavior, and plentiful feedback, the GR86 and BRZ encourage you to push harder. The Subaru-sourced 2.4-liter flat 4 loves to be wrung out, delivering its peak torque at 3,700 RPM and its power peak at 7,000 revs. With 228 horsepower, the engine sends this little coupe to 60 mph in 5.4 seconds, when paired with the stick shift, nearly a full second improvement over the smaller engine in the first generation. A 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters and a sport mode is available, but the manual is the way to go. Friendly clutch take-up and smooth shift action make this an ideal manual for first-timers or those often mired in stop-and-go slog. Subaru and Toyota show row-your-own buyers some additional love this year by finally making adaptive cruise control, automated emergency braking, and lane departure warning available with the 6-speed manual. Both were structurally stiffened as part of their 2022 redo, and that solid base allowed each brand's chassis engineers to do their best work. The suspension tuning between the two is slightly different, as we noted when driving them back-to-back in a 2022 comparison test. We found the BRZ a little more compliant and the GR86 easier to coax into oversteer. Those variants also come with Brembo brakes, and drivers who track their cars will welcome the beefier stoppers. Those who dismiss the interiors as cheap and basic probably haven't been in the latest versions, which are much improved. We'll grant that the rear seats are strictly theoretical, but so what? Fold them down and a spare set of tires fits back there. Fortunately, the Subaru BRZ and Toyota GR86 are still among them. What happens when a car that's synonymous with a certain set of virtues adds a whole bunch more? It ends up here. You may be unsurprised to learn that 10 best voters praised the Toyota Prius for its sleek, daringly styled hatchback bodywork. But, record scratch, those plaudits were from 20 years ago when the 2004 Prius first made the 10 best list. That second-generation car became synonymous with hybrid and cemented the geek-chic appeal of a wild shape married to superlative fuel economy. It only took 2 decades, but Toyota's recaptured that very specific mix and added something to appeal to our enthusiast hearts: muscle. If you wanted to drive a 220 HP Prius in 2004, you'd probably begin by scavenging junkyards for a Ford Taurus SHO V6. Now you simply climb into a Prius Prime and push the start button. The Prime hits 60 mph in 6.5 seconds, a showing that goes a long way toward justifying its Lamborghini-like windshield angle. The base car isn't far behind. It's 194 horsepower, good for a 7.1-second run to 60. The 196 HP all-wheel drive model seems aimed right at the heart of Subaru owners. But surely, a car that's this quick and looks concept car futuristic costs a ton of money, right? Nope. Prices start at less than $30K and barely breach the $40K barrier for a fully loaded Prime. Prius haters, it seems, don't have a lot of material to work with these days. It speaks to the magnitude of the Prius's reinvention that it took us this long to mention its fuel economy, which is, of course, still superb. Efficiency was once the primary, and sometimes only, reason to buy a Prius, but now it's more like a delightful Easter egg hidden in a package that appeals on plenty of other merits. The Prius earns an EPA combined rating as high as 57 in Babaderg, and doing our worst, driving the way we drive, we observed 45 mpg in the Prius Limited. We saw 49 mpg in the Prime, which also returned 33 miles of electric-only range at 75 mph. That could be enough range to realize the promise of fully electric daily driving, depending on your routine, while still allowing spur-of-the-moment 500 mil adventures. Again, we're struggling to add the qualifier you'd expect, the flaw that undermines the Prius argument. That roofline is pretty low, only about 5 inches higher than a Supra's, so watch your head climbing in. And we regret to inform you that, despite our petitions, the Prius still doesn't offer a 6-speed manual transmission. Roaring. 2020s. Toyota is cool, but not that cool. The genius of the second-generation Prius was that it turned its efficiency into a comeback-style statement, design and engineering proudly intertwined. But there was still a certain penury baked into the bargain, an assertion of noble sacrifice in the name of glorious mileage. You can have 50 mpg or a healthy stable of horsepower, but not both. The new Prius erases half of that formula, retaining its core efficiency while beefing up the muscle and, just for good measure, wrapping it all in a package that reliably causes onlookers to blurt, That's a Prius? Yes, indeed. The Prius philosophy now embraces 19-inch wheels. 17s come standard on the base trim, and overhangs so short they're measured in quarks. The cognitive dissonance will likely persist for a while, but probably not for another 20 years. We'd say Toyota's signature hybrid finally regained its 10-best form, but that's not really accurate. To find its way back, the Prius set off in a new direction altogether.